Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. Today we're doing a quick reading wrap-up from the month of September, where my reading month got a little bit derailed because all of the library book holds became available at one time. I think it was about 4 within a span of 2 days. Because they were new releases or interlibrary loans, I had a limited amount of time in which to read them in, only 2 weeks. So I needed to move them up to the top of my TBR. The first is an adult political fantasy called Daughter of the Empire by Raymond Feist and Ginny Worth. This was totally off of my radar. It's not a type of novel I think I would have normally even heard about, let alone pick up, except Patrick raved about it on his channel, and it sounded very intriguing. I will link Patrick's channel below. You probably have already heard of him. He has been on BookTube for about a year, but prior to that has been writing very thorough book reviews for Goodreads for a really long time. Daughter of the Empire truly is political. There's not a whole lot of magic in this story. It's about a woman named Mara who has lately been dedicating her life to become a priestess in a temple of one of the religions in this world, and at the very last moment before she's sworn in, some of her family's guards come to collect her because her father and her brother have been killed, and now she is the leader of the house. I don't normally go in for novels that are so focused on the politics, but I enjoyed the character and seeing the clever ways that she came up to counter what the opposing houses were throwing at her, especially because they were underestimating her for being a woman. It wasn't just about the house, it was about Mara. They made the stakes personal in many ways, and they kept the story very personal so that I didn't feel lost in like politics I don't care about. I really cared about Mara and wanted to see her house succeed. This is the first in a trilogy. And as soon as I finished the first one, I requested the next one from my library, and I have it. I just haven't started it yet. I recommend this one. It's a little bit different. The style is different because it's not as modern, but if you like political fantasy, you should give it a try. Another one that I got in from the library, Psalm for the Wild Built. This is a novella. It's by Becky Chambers. I haven't read Becky Chambers' other science fiction works. She's well known for the series where the first one is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which I've heard described as a very character-centric found family type of story. It's a monk and a robot book, which intrigued me because I really love Murderbot and I wanted to see someone else's take on some sort of sentient robot. This novel is dedicated to everyone who needs a break. And honestly, truly, reading this novella felt like just getting a warm hug. It was calming, it was welcoming, it was thoughtful. It wasn't very high stakes at all, but the ideas proposed in it were really cool. We follow a monk who has become a little dissatisfied with their order. This is a futuristic world where humanity created robots that had AI, and then the robots left one day. And there was a kind of covenant made in the wake of their leaving where if the robots ever wanted to come back, they could choose to interact with humanity if they wanted, but humanity wasn't allowed to go after them. We have this monk who starts thinking about crickets one day because crickets can only live in certain areas of the world, and how we changed the world, they sort of started disappearing. This monk gets it into their head that they want to hear a cricket. So they leave their order and they become a tea monk, which basically means they go from village to village and their purpose is to listen and serve tea. Among that journey, they encounter a wild-built robot out in the woods. And it's just, you should read it. It just feels so good, which I feel like a lot of us need right now. This next one feels a little bit like a cheat because I haven't finished it yet. You can see this is what's left. Not very much. I should finish it in the next few days. But it is Half Sick of Shadows, which is somewhat of an Arthurian retelling, but very unique. This novel is told from the perspective of Elaine of Shalott, who in this novel is a seer. She grew up in Camelot, always trying to suppress this ability, never really understanding what it is. One day, as a young child, she meets someone who brings her to Avalon to be trained as a seer, and there she meets Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot, and Morgana. But in the setting of this story, Arthur is the only truly human one there. He was given over to be raised by the Fae at the end of this huge war between humans and the Fae people. So it was a gesture of goodwill for the King Uther to send Arthur there to be raised, in the hopes that one day he could be king of everyone, not just of the humans. But the other main characters we're so used to hearing, they all have different backgrounds. It's not a carbon copy of other Arthurian legends that you've heard. All of these characters are bringing something a little bit unique. The story follows Arthur as he has to fulfill 3 challenges before he can be declared the rightful heir to the throne, since he's been gone for so long. It's so interesting. Part of the story is told in the past tense, as Elaine is a young daughter, first discovering what she can do and meeting Arthur and the rest of them. Part of it is told in the present tense, the events that are actually occurring with them as adults, as 20-something-year-olds. And then you have other parts that are in the future, this will happen, and that's when you kind of realize that she's seeing a vision, and they're all kind of intermingled among each other. I have a feeling that this one's going to be a little bit heartbreaking because what the main character tells you when the story opens. However, like, things aren't happening how you would assume they would happen, and the visions don't necessarily come to pass exactly how she originally saw them. Really good book. It's beautiful. The writing is beautiful. If you can kind of live in the dark dwellingness of it, like Elaine always knowing that she's going to be betrayed by somebody, or that people she cares about are going to betray someone else, and trying to do what she can about it while knowing that if you try to cheat the future, it's going to probably come to pass a different, worse way. It's a very interesting novel. If you're interested in Arthurian retellings, definitely read this one. The last book I read, or actually I listened to the audiobook for The Burning Stone, which is book 3 in Kate Elliott's Crown of Stars series. This is a 7-book series, so book 3 puts us right where everything changes for the character. You can really see how hints of different story threads are going to potentially weave together. I read these books a long time ago, and there is so much I don't remember. But as I was listening to it, I was just like, Kate Elliott is a genius. Why aren't more people talking about this series? There's so much going on, but it's shown to you so well. She doesn't outright tell you everything. As a reader, you somewhat have to infer some things. For example, you follow 2 of the main characters, but then a couple of the other very important characters that impact the story, you don't follow their perspective exactly. You are in the heads of someone who is traveling with them. And that secondary character has their whole plot and their whole other conflicts and desires and storyline that they're focusing on, but they are witnessing things that as a reader you realize, oh, this is what this person did when this happened. So you kind of start to infer larger plot threads from what you're seeing in the eyes of the secondary characters, which I think is very cool. And lots of really cool stuff starts getting set in motion in this novel. And as I mentioned at the end, a lot changes. I have no memory of what happens after this point. I don't think I'm going to read the physical book that I have on my shelf for the 4th book. I've very much enjoyed listening to them in audiobook format, so I think I'm going to wait to read book 4, the next one, until it comes out. That's my reading wrap up. A little bit scattered. I didn't get to a lot of the books on my autumn TBR that I wanted to, but that's all right because I've been waiting for some of these books at the library for a while, and I'm happy that they finally arrived. When it rains, it pours, it seems like. You get one library book hold available and suddenly they all are available. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to support your local library. Thank you. Bye. Oh, and happy October.